as we're moving a little faster, we have former government minister Karen Nunez-Teshira, who of course is no stranger to the Observer. And again, let me start off by wishing her a happy Mother's Day, and always a pleasure to have her on. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to you, Mikey, and thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, I was just speaking to Dr. Indira Rampasad, political scientist. I made it quite clear that, in order for us to have a healthy democracy, we need to have not just a strong government, but a very strong and active and effective opposition in order to keep checks and balances. But
Right.
if you see what's playing out now, you have to ask the question, what really is taking place as far as our politics? I mean, you have accusations now coming from, a posting by a former prime minister about young girls and other, detailing other stuff. Not calling any names, he didn't do that. But he is, of course, throwing that corn out there to see, which fowl is going to come running. Yeah.
I don't know if they like to call fouls, but go ahead.
Yeah, and we're at a very strange point now in our politics. Did you ever expect? I mean, this is a party that you were a part of, that always prided itself in keeping its dirty political linen out of the public space. Now we're seeing things unfold that one has to ask, what is taking place?
Well, I think I'm not surprised really, because there's too much opposition. Now that the glue that held it together, I don't know if you want to call it glue, but whatever you want to call it, Dr. Rowley, not a man back, he's no longer in the picture. People now feel free to give rein to how they felt. In relation to how you saw people, members of parliament, and even before the election, appearing to support each other, that I'm not surprised at, because I very much experienced that as member of cabinet, that people are able to, as you say, show the discipline and put on a good face and a good front, but behind there's a lot of Machiavellian politics going on. A lot of people there have ambition, and they want to be the political leader one day and the prime minister one day. That is their hope and dream. So you can't, alliances are there for convenience, I would say. So I'm not surprised, to answer your question.
No, I just want to read something here from veteran journalist Ken Ali, and he said that ex-PNM ministers tell of cabinet horror. He said some fallen PNM government ministers and top party officials popped champagne corks at their homes on general election night. Yes, they celebrated after their party was booted from government. They felt a UNC victory was the only way for the PNM to escape Dr. Rowley and to reset the party for the future. The frontliners rejoice with their inner circles, convinced that an electoral defeat would free the PNM from Rowley's tyranny and the stranglehold of his hand-picked proxy Stuart Young. Former ministers and other Balize House operatives are now talking on condition of anonymity about the horror they experienced over the past few years. Now, when you do a post-mortem, you look back and say to yourself, this is what perhaps we should have done. Perhaps we didn't consider these options, what have you. But when you do a post-mortem and realize that a lot of it was just based on human behavior, people who felt that, listen, my future, my career was, hitched to whatever was being offered to me, and I had to remain silent. How then do you rebuild from that?
Well, something, what you just said to me about popping champagne, I'm sure that happened in 2010. There were persons in that cabinet who wanted the PNM to lose. I mean, in my constituency of David O'Meara, where I had a 98% approval rating, even higher than Jack Warner, that was done by NACTA about 2 weeks before the election, and I had a good team working with me. In any event, I was told by the constituency that they did not want Mr. Manning, they wanted Dr. Rowley. And that was so what you're hearing now is, I think Robert LaHunt said something, do so, do like so. So that's what's happening right now. I'm not surprised at all. I am not surprised at all, because I'm confident that Stuart Young was not a favorite for many reasons. And one thing, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And politics makes strange bedfellows. And I think the common enemy was Stuart Young, and they were afraid to do anything because Dr. Rowley, from all the reports I have heard, is a force. But he didn't hide his personality to us, the electorate, much less behind closed doors. So I think there was a feeling that the only way to take back control of the party, the way that it was going, and I'm confident it was going in a direction that it would have lost its, loss of its support, and the persons who felt that the PNM rightly belonged to those who had been there all these years, etc. I am confident that it was going in the wrong direction. So I'm not surprised they felt so. I felt that they shouldn't have won. Not that I don't think the PNM is a good party. I do think it's a good party. Did it lose its way? 100%. Did they want Stuart Young? No, they didn't, except Rowley, who, I don't know, must have made promises, and Stuart Young was an eager and willing participant, saying that, no, he was there because he wanted to be there. Look at the Prime Minister's salary. I must say, Louis Lee Singh, who I did not know had written the article, so that when I finished reading it, he put an excellent argument for Stuart Young not to accept that Prime Minister's salary. Absolutely an amendment to the Prime Minister's legislation. So to answer your question, it happened to me. It happened to me. There was a group who I shall not call, but were intent on Mr. Manning losing the election. And it didn't have to be only the UNC. It was right there within members of the cabinet. So what's happening now is a replay.
It says here that one spoke of mental torture, one individual spoke of mental torture and of a toxic, dysfunctional, hateful work culture. He said that they added there's no way this could have continued. We would have imploded. Another stated that Dr. Eric Williams' party would not have imagined his party becoming so broken and flawed. And the ex-minister said cabinet meetings were generally tense with periodic explosions of ill temper. And I mean, listening to what's...
I did hear that.
Huh?
I did hear that. And I did hear when the general conference, the things that he said, and, the things that he said, I mean, he absolutely had no, I wouldn't say even control. There are some people who can bully their way, and somehow they're able to get away with it because they're willing to go where you will not be prepared to go. And I think, yes, he did. That's all the reports I heard. And the thing about it is, again, because I know some of the players, and secondly, because I was in there, I watched with, sort of a jaundiced eye. You get a little bit, you can't help but become a little bit, you can't remain naive when you're in the business of politics. And you saw people, brown-nosing. You saw them behaving sycophants, playing up. I mean, it was disgusting, and I knew some of them, and I knew they were just playing a game. They were playing a game because they knew that as long as Rowley stayed on as political leader, he was going to decide who got an MP position, who did not. If you didn't get an MP position, you have to pray to become a senator, and if you become a senator, you have no job security. With an MP, you could take away your ministerial portfolio, yes, as Mr. Manning did with Dr. Rowley, but you stay as an MP, a member of parliament, and your vote may be necessary at certain, could be necessary. Whereas as a senator, there's no job security. So a lot of them who may have been senators were there. They probably were very, very unhappy. They were probably very, very tense. But they knew how to play the game because they hoped and prayed that they would have been made MPs.
But why does the fight remain? I mean,
why?
Because listen, there's no reason to continue the fight. You're not the political leader. You're not the prime minister. You're not the opposition leader. You said, listen, that you're going to walk away from all of this. You're going to live your life, spend more time with your family. Then why is it that you need to have this fight going on as if to say, listen, I cannot leave unless I get my way? And it's not to say that your way is in the interest of the country or even the interest of the party or even of the political players, but of yourself. I mean, yes.
I wouldn't say it's of himself, and that's very well one of the main reasons that the PNM lost, because eventually it reached, if you're there for 10 years, that's good. For 10 years, it's bad. So because after a while, you can't keep making promises they don't keep, and after a while, people do take off the blinkers, and they do, and the cobwebs, and they realize, wait, now, we are really in the same bad position. So he was, in my respectful opinion, I can't have the proof of it, but I mean, I was in there, and common sense tells me that he had promised to bring home a like-minded soul to the head of the PNM, and the constitution of our country allows for maximum leadership. When the head of cabinet barks, Eric Williams too. He said I could put a crapper with a tie and they'll vote for him. And you remember when he said he was resigning he was giving up as prime minister, and then after that he wanted to see who would have come forward, and then Hudson Phillip, I think, was one of them, if I recall. But in any event, the point I'm making, Stuart Young represented an interest, in my respectful opinion, and that was an interest that Rowley promised to whoever would have supported his party or supported him, whatever the situation. But I think he promised them Stuart Young, because Stuart Young was a mini-me of Dr. Rowley. And all the machinations that we witnessed with him and one day he should be so ashamed of himself. I mean, that man, he has no shame. He's going to go down, he and the Dr. Rowley, when the history books are written and there's sufficient distance from the motion of today, they are going to go down in infamy. Their names will be forever blighted. They have no shame. But you know what? Absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And unfortunately, when persons are put in a position, they lose sight. They wear the emperor's clothes. They believe their own PR, and they live in an alternate universe. And that is what happened to them. Because if they were reading the ground, they would have known that the political licks they were going to get, and they would know what everyone was telling them over and over again. You have lost touch with the people. You feel that you have betrayed them, saying things like the rich will always get rich and it trickles down. All kinds of ridiculous things you're saying to people, so out of touch and cold and heartless. So to me, what is happening now is that there are factions. Everybody wants the power. Those in and those out. Some of them got fired too, All of them want to be inside. Everybody feels they should be prime minister. I don't know who they are, but everybody wants to be prime minister. That is the name of the game. I was in there, and I know the most unlikely persons you wouldn't even think of are the ones who are burning up with the most ambition. And they were careful not to show their hand.
Yeah, but there's a new opposition leader. No, she's not the political leader. There's a new opposition leader. But it's not to say that she was absent to all that was taking place. She was right there. Let's be honest. She was there. Now, she has to pick from the same pool that these individuals were part of. I mean, so how much flexibility or how much room does she have to maneuver to bring anything that may resemble change or anything that could be helpful to the party?
Well, I don't know if it's absolutely correct to say she has little room to maneuver, because she has to pick 6 senators.
Right.
And the 6 senators, you're hearing names being called. So she has to be careful about who she picks as her 6 senators, because now they're going to be in Parliament, going to have the ability to keep their public profile going. She has that to consider, and that's a big consideration for her. And therefore, there are many people who are not in the did not lose because they did not go up, or they're not MP. But you can't take an MP; he's in the lower house. So who does she choose from? She should choose from a pool that she could choose from the losing senators. Nothing to stop her doing that. That's Mr. Pandey was the one who first did it. She could choose from losing MPs, and she could choose other persons who are not there, who are not a part of that. So she has some leeway. The only thing is she only has six senators to choose from. The other thing too is the political leader position. The political leader position, I mean, a lot of people took the very much against the former prime minister holding on to political leader and having a prime minister being different from the political leader. Are they going to then feel that even though it's an opposition leader, she is an opposition leader, but prime minister in waiting, hopefully, are they going to feel that they have to give her the political leadership because she is the opposition leader? Is that going to be a consideration? Or are they going to break ranks? Because I feel there's a lot of maneuvering behind the... and people take things personal, Mikey. You might be surprised. Some people harbor ill will because they feel they were slighted. They hold on to things, You might think they rise above it. But a lot of the maneuvering and feeling offended and feeling hurt and getting back at and whatever it is has a lot to do with her personal issues. So I don't know what's going to happen with these 6 people. She has a task ahead of her. And also, too, is she going to be able to hold on to the opposition leadership? Because Section 83 says if she has the support of the greatest number of persons who do not support the government, and that's they have 2 seats in Tobago. They don't support the government. I don't think they've aligned themselves with the government. So it's not only the 13 MPs or PNM MPs, but also the 2 TPP MPs. They would be considered under Section 83, and it also states very clearly in Section 83 for the opposition leader, unlike the Prime Minister, it says who in her or his, they use the word, who in his judgment is best able to command the support of the greatest number of members of the House of Representatives who do not support the government. Oh, that gives her a lot of discretion. That is the president. So, and the president will act on whose advice? She will act on the advice probably of the current leader of opposition, but it's not a done deal. What about Tobago? They don't support the government. Do they have a say in who is the opposition leader when it comes down to it? Because it does not say the party that has the most number of MPs. It says the greatest number of members of the House of Representatives who do not support the government. That's the key thing. So TPP do not support the government as far as I am aware. So it's not just 13 MPs in Trinidad who are PNM MPs, but the 2 TPP MPs also have a say. So they might break the lock. They might be the ones that say, no, we don't support you. You got 7, and among the 7, you are among the 7. You made the 7, and they said in the voting with 58-60 for I think it was for whose position, the chairman position. 2 of them who should not have been allowed to vote, 58-60. That made a big. It's just 2 votes separated the winner, and 2 voters were Amory Brown and Roger Monroe, who they say should not have been allowed to vote.
That's right. They said that it was done illegally.
So that tells you in a nutshell. Don't believe the what people present themselves to be. Right? Don't believe that. There's a lot going on, and now that it's 2 in Tobago, according to Section 83, that doesn't mean she's going to hold on to the opposition position. I don't know. Do they have to have a say? Because that's what Section 83 says.
Yeah. Do you have you thought perhaps to return to the party and help with the rebuilding process?
Well, Mikey, you want me to be very
honest? Yes.
Frank with you.
Yes.
But honest, no, I don't want to use the word honest because it means I could be dishonest. So I want to be frank with you. And to pull back from using that word. Not a good word for politicians or would-be politicians to use. But listen, I have a lot of respect for the PNM as it was, under Mr. Manning. I have never, ever, ever gone against Mr. Manning. I was offered, as I've always said, the opposition senatorship when they were in opposition by someone who could have made that offer. And I suspect was sent to make the offer, and I turned it down. So I am not a sour grapes. I'm not at all. It's very easy to have gotten back just by talk Mr. Manning and suck up to Mr. Dr. Rowley and he'll get in. Because I think they think I was a good speaker in the lower house. So I suspect they felt I would have added some value from their point of view. And in any event, to answer your question, I don't think they want to see me. I am a realist, They don't want to see me because they are hurting. They are, and that is those who are in and those who are out. And how much change is really going to happen? That makes me wonder. Those who are in and those who are out, are we exchanging 6 for 1? Are we really making a real difference? Or are these people who feel that they should be there and are not there, and they don't want the direction in which the party is going because it doesn't benefit them? Or are they really interested in the downtrodden? Or are they really feeling their mission is really to help those who were sidelined by Dr. Rowley? Is it that? Or is it that they feel that they have been hard done by and that they are long-term PNM members and they should be restored to their rightful place? I don't know. And I think that my presence there, not having attended any political meeting of either party, neither putting on anybody's jersey or anything like that, I think that they will hold something against me for, they will just do that. I just know that is the thing. And I'm not, I want to help my country. I love my country. And I would help, but I don't feel I would be welcomed. Somebody told me they would curse me out.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to link with me here this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And yes, you're always frank. That's one thing. You pull no punches. You say it as it is. And we wait to see how things unfold because, I mean, really and truly, we need to have that balance, especially that level of political equilibrium where we have a strong government willing to serve, willing to deliver, but as well as an effective opposition that is willing to call things out and to keep things transparent where they need to be. And one has to ask the question, you know, what is really taking place when you look at the political landscape at this point in time. The newly installed Prime Minister has set the tone. She's all about working. She's all about cutting expenditures. She's all about making sure that the most vulnerable is taken care of. And of course, she spoke about the laptops and everything for the children. And on the other side, you have, accusations being hit left, right, and center about so many things. And people are saying, listen, they're actually distancing themselves from that strategy that brought in a prime minister select rather than one that was elected. So they're saying, listen, that was never part of the plan. I never wanted to be a part of that. And because of that, they are now in opposition. So, and you can expect that. And that's what a critic does. They wait until after the battle has been fought. They come on the battlefield and say, listen, maybe we should have, maybe we could have. But really and truly, it makes you wonder how sincere some individuals are. So
exactly, they play it safe. But as you said, I'm frank, so maybe that's another reason they be careful to ask me because, I'm not going to pull punches. I'm just not good. I'm going to, I think I will be objective and I will support, but I'm not prepared to compromise myself.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Nunez-Teshira, have a good one. And again, happy Mother's Day to you.
But I can't tell you the same thing, but anyhow, have a good day.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.